In 1995, one company controlled how the entire internet looked. It wasn't Google, it wasn't Microsoft. It was a scrappy startup with a weird name, Netscape. Their browser wasn't just software, it was the doorway to a brand new world. And for a brief, shining moment, they owned the web. But within just a few years, Netscape would be crushed, not by incompetence, but by power. The war that destroyed them was so brutal, it changed tech forever, and set the stage for the same battle we're still fighting today, between freedom and control. This is the story of Netscape, the company that opened the internet, and how the giants who killed it eventually resurrected its spirit. Welcome to Missed Billions Explained, where we uncover the billion-dollar mistakes that shape the world we live in. If you love stories of innovation, ambition, and the brutal politics of Silicon Valley, subscribe, because this one isn't just history, it's the blueprint for every tech war that followed. The story starts in 1994 at the University of Illinois. A 23-year-old student named Mark Andreessen helped build a little program called Mosaic, one of the first web browsers that could show images and text together. It was clunky, slow, and primitive, but it made the internet visual, and that changed everything. Andreessen realized that whoever controlled the browser would control how people accessed information itself. So he dropped out of school, moved to Silicon Valley, and teamed up with tech veteran Jim Clark, who just left Silicon Graphics. Together, they founded Netscape Communications. Their mission was simple: give everyone a way to explore the internet and make it easy enough for your parents to use. In 1995, they launched Navigator 2.0. Fast, colorful, intuitive. Within months, it dominated the market. At its peak, Netscape held over 80% of all web traffic. And when they went public that same year, their stock quadrupled on day one, kicking off the dot-com boom. It wasn't just a company, it was the spark that lit the web on fire. But one man wasn't happy about it: Bill Gates. Microsoft had missed the early internet wave. Windows 95 shipped with no web browser, and suddenly this tiny company named Netscape was threatening to make Windows irrelevant. So Gates declared war. Microsoft launched Internet Explorer, bundled for free inside every copy of Windows. That meant if you bought a PC, you already had Microsoft's browser. No download, no purchase, no reason to use Netscape. It was a brutal strategy, and completely legal at the time. Within a year, Microsoft's browser share skyrocketed. Netscape's dropped like a stone. But Netscape wasn't giving up yet. They raced to innovate, adding JavaScript, plugins, new web languages. They released Navigator 3 and 4, each more ambitious than the last. Still, Microsoft had something Netscape didn't: control over the operating system. They could change how Windows behaved and quietly make Internet Explorer faster, smoother, and more compatible than Netscape's. Every update felt like Netscape was swimming against a current, and that current was powered by the biggest software company on Earth. By 1998, Netscape was bleeding. Its software was buggy, slow, and behind schedule. Their once iconic brand became a meme in Silicon Valley, a punchline for what used to be cool. Microsoft now controlled over 90% of browser usage. The war was over. But Netscape made one final move, a last, desperate gamble that would change tech forever. They released the source code of their browser to the public. They called the project Mozilla. It was a radical idea: open source software built by the community, not by corporations. They believed if the world could collaborate freely, they could build something even better. That act of rebellion didn't save Netscape, but it planted a seed. Later that year, Netscape was acquired by AOL for $4.2 billion and quietly faded into history. but their code lived on. The open source movement exploded. Programmers across the world took Netscape's code and started building. By the early 2000s, a new browser appeared, Firefox. Fast, clean, and community-driven. It was everything Netscape had wanted to be. For a moment, the web felt free again. Microsoft's dominance cracked. Firefox reached hundreds of millions of users. But, as history loves to repeat itself, a new challenger appeared. In 2008, Google released Chrome. It was fast, minimalist, and tightly integrated with Google's ecosystem. People loved it. And once again, the cycle began. A powerful tech giant bundling its products, controlling the ecosystem, and quietly locking the web behind its own walls. The Browser Wars 2.0 had begun. What if Netscape had survived? What if they had found a way to partner instead of fight, or turned their early dominance into a true internet platform before Google or Facebook existed? Netscape could have been the gateway to everything: search, email, chat, even payments, all running through their browser. They had the brand, the users, and the momentum, but they lacked one thing: control of distribution. In many ways, Netscape didn't lose because they were wrong. They lost because they were early. Their dream, an open, user-driven internet, was ahead of its time. Netscape's story isn't just a cautionary tale. It's a mirror reflecting the web today. They believe the internet should be free, open, and built by everyone. Microsoft believed it should be owned. And decades later, we're still arguing about the same thing, just with different names: Apple, Meta, Google. Innovation always starts with outsiders. But once the outsiders win, they become the gatekeepers they once fought against. Netscape's real legacy isn't the browser. It's the belief that no single company should control how people connect to information. And yet, here we are, living in the sequel they accidentally wrote. Netscape gave us the internet as we know it, and lost it to the very forces they tried to free us from. But every time you open a tab, stream a video, or type a URL, you're walking through the door they built. Because Netscape didn't just build a browser, they built the idea of browsing itself. Thanks for watching Missed Billions Explained. If you enjoyed this story, hit like, subscribe, and drop a comment on what digital empire you want next. Because the browser wars never really ended. They just moved to new battlefields.